Hi, this is Jason Conoval from Venom Power, and welcome to part 10 of the Venom BCMS video tutorial series. In this video, we will take a closer look at an inventory item to review usage data collected by the Venom BCMS, including activities, maintenance, and faults. To access our inventory, we must have an active internet connection, and we can get here by clicking on Inventory in the desktop software or by logging into our account at www.venombcms.com and clicking Inventory. Now let's select a battery to review. Notice that we have access to multiple subpages, including Overview, which is where we landed, Activity, Maintenance, and Faults. For now, let's review the overview screen. Much of the information provided here is intuitive, however, there are several fields I want to discuss in more detail. As you will see, the information presented on the overview page acts as a historical summary for the pack, giving us a multitude of indicators related to the ongoing use of this battery pack. Starting in the usage section, I want to mention that the usage and depth of discharge metrics are calculated for Venom Commercial Series BMS batteries from discharge cycles captured as the battery is used outside of the BCMS, or by any charge cycle that did not occur in the Venom BCMS, both of which the battery captures in its onboard data storage. For standard batteries, these fields use charge cycles only to calculate values, as we consider a battery is most likely to have been used should it require a charge. So using the standard battery that we are viewing, notice that the usage count shows 23, and as we review the activities for the battery, we will see that this number matches the count of charge processes. Towards the bottom of the usage section, we are also given temperature, current, and impedance metrics that provide us with historical maximum and minimums. The temperature values for standard batteries are taken from the battery bay readings, while for Venom Commercial Series BMS batteries, this is taken from the battery's internal temperature sensors. I also want to mention here that the impedance values are given at the battery pack level rather than at the cell level. Moving on to the service section, we are given an overview of the service history for this pack, including the number of days it has been in service, which is based on the purchase date. We are also given a notice of upcoming service, as well as the last time the battery was used, which again would be the last time this standard battery was charged. For the Venom Commercial Series BMS batteries, this would be the date of the last discharge pulled from data that was stored on the battery, or from the last charge outside of the BCMS. Next, in the fault section, we are given a summary of all historical faults that have occurred over the life of this pack. These faults may be those that are acknowledged or unacknowledged. Should we have any unacknowledged faults, as we direct our attention to just above the information section, we are given a notice in red which signifies this unacknowledged fault. By clicking on this fault warning, we will be taken to the activity where the fault occurred. We can also click on any one of these fault types, and as we do so, we are taken to the fault report for this battery with preset filters that match the fault type that we clicked on. The last item we come to on this page are current configuration metrics and a notes field. Should we have entered any notes during the setup of this battery, this is where these notes will live. Also notice that we can edit the notes by selecting the Edit button. Please also note that changes to the battery configuration settings is not currently available at this level. Now let's jump over to the activity page. Here we are shown all activities for this battery, sorted newest to oldest, starting on the left. Should we be looking for a specific activity or group of activities, the filter region gives us the ability to do so. We can also export all activity data in CSV format. Keep in mind that the data exported will only contain what is part of the current filtered region. Should we have any activities that were canceled, these will show with a yellow caution, where activities with faults will have a red caution. Continuing on to the activity section, here we have a number of user input fields where we can add information to help us better associate our activities to a job. These fields are especially useful for adding detail to usage data that gets pulled from Venom Commercial Series BMS batteries. The remaining information on this page is intuitive, but I wanted to quickly point out the graphs for cell voltages and cell resistances. Both graphs show the range covered over the span of the activity, and because cell resistance is captured periodically by the Venom BCMS, we may not see a cell resistance graph for brief activities. We also will not see these graphs for DJI batteries, as we do not have access to the individual cells in the pack. At the very bottom of the page, there is an area to add more detailed notes for the activity as is needed. Very often here, I will leave flight-related notes to reference the weather conditions, any issues that may have occurred, and any other pertinent flight detail that wasn't covered in the user fields found in the activity section. Next, let's move over to the maintenance page, which houses all of the baseline data accumulated for this battery. By default, this information is sorted ascending with the very first baseline shown at the top of the list. In some instances, you may see that the first baseline is less than 100%, and this is because it is not uncommon to see an increase in battery capacity during its initial cycles. Once the battery has stabilized and the capacity has plateaued, we mark this highest capacity reading as 100%. We may see some ongoing and minimal capacity fluctuation over the life of the battery. However, the overall trend will be downward as the battery ages and degrades. As the battery degrades to a capacity reading of 85% or less, this and subsequent maintenance records are marked in yellow with a degraded indicator in the far right-hand column. As the battery degrades to a capacity reading of 80% or less, maintenance records are marked in red with a service limit reached indicator in the far right column. These status indicators will also be visible from the overview screen for the item, as well as on the main inventory page. Continuing on, we can also export all maintenance data in CSV format by clicking on the Export button. It is also worth mentioning that as we click on the date for any one of these maintenance results, we will be brought to the activity page where we can review the baseline test. Now let's check out the faults page, which houses detail pertaining to all faults that have occurred over the life of this pack. Notice that at the top there is a filters section that allows us to filter the faults being viewed based on our requirements. Next to the filters, there is an option to download the data in CSV format. It is important to keep in mind that any filters that are set will affect the data that is exported. The information provided in the data table is intuitive, so I won't go into much detail. Rather, I will just mention that we aim to provide enough information to allow users to better understand when and how the fault occurred. This concludes part 10 of the Venom BCMS video tutorial series. Please see the description below where we have provided a link to part 11 of the series, where we will take a closer look at the battery fleet reporting section of the inventory page. Until next time, safe charging.